All right, ATO is here with Bjorn Rebney, President and CEO of Bellator Fights. Great night of fights tonight.
Yeah, it was fun, wasn't it? It's a good night. Well, when you're putting on shows like this, you dream that, every one of the fights that steps in the cage as part of the televised show is going to be great and deliver, and there's going to be finish after finish, and that's what happened. So it was fun to watch. It was great to be cage side and watch this show tonight.
So it's pretty satisfying when Kern and Pitbull fell through and you couldn't pin it on. Knowing that these guys came and delivered, do you think most people forgot about that fight because these fights were so entertaining tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if people will forget about it, but boy, the guys sure did step up and deliver. I mean, you always hope when you lose a fight of that significance. I mean, you're talking about two of the top 5 ranked featherweights in the world that were going to fight for the world title. They're both in their prime. They've both been just knocking people out and destroying everybody in their way. But boy, the guys who stepped up in lieu of that main event sure just put on a great show. I mean, whether it was the light heavies or whether the 35-pounders or the heavies we even kicked off the show. I mean, it just everybody stepped up. It was a great show. I would have loved to have seen Kern and Pitbull, and I can't wait to see that fight when it does occur. But boy, the guys who filled those 4 spots put on great performances.
Yeah, talk about that. Galvo and Attila Vey. How do you think? Are you looking forward to that fight when they're obviously going for your titles now?
Yeah, I mean, Marcus Galvo is Sam Kaplan, who's our VP of Talent Development, found Marcus and brought him into our organization. He had a little bit of a lopsided record at the time. I think he was 9-4 or 9-5 or something like that. So the record didn't speak to the quality level of this guy. But he's an incredibly talented fighter. I mean, he trains down with Novignon. He's with Jose Aldo. He's with Marlon Sandro. He's with Eduardo Dantas. He's just with, that's a freak level camp for 45-pounders and 35-pounders. And he's got the heart of a lion, and he's just been putting on great performances. I mean, he's a 2-time world champion in BJJ, and he'd rather stand and just throw bombs. So you got to just have mad respect for a guy like that. His fight against Eduardo Dantas should be spectacular. I mean, for as long as it lasts, it should be unreal. And then you got the fact that these two guys, I mean, literally Marcus Galvo basically brought Eduardo Dantas into Novignon, taught him BJJ, tutored him, coached him. I mean, you're talking about master and student. So that's an incredible fight with all kinds of storyline behind it and 2 crazy talented 35ers. So that'll be a blast to watch.
Any idea when that fight will happen?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I wanted to talk to Marcus. I haven't had a chance yet to see how he is. I always like to check with the guys post-fight, say, how are your hands? Anything bothering you? And, they're so amped after the fight sometimes they'll go, I'm great. And then 3 days later you talk to him and there's something wrong. But he looked great. He looked terrific. So hopefully sooner rather than later. I can't wait to see that fight.
Now, the main card was awesome. But the undercard guys seem like they really delivered to a lot of the local talent. How do you feel about the local talent here in the Mid-South, and what guys in particular stood out to you?
Boy, we Zach White and Sam Kaplan, who basically put together everything for us in terms of the preliminaries, don't look to put them together just in terms of pure ticket sellers. They always look to put them together in terms of guys who could conceptually fight for us in future seasons, potentially work their way into an eliminator for a tournament spot. So I thought there were just a series of exciting fights on the preliminary show on Spike.com. I haven't had a chance to watch it in totality because I'm always bouncing in the prelim show doing production stuff, so I haven't had a chance to kind of sit down and watch. I knew we had finishes and I would catch a piece of it, but I didn't have a chance to watch the whole fight. Typically I get a DVD and then on my flight home, take it about 6 hours to get back, I watch all the fights. I give you a better answer once I've had a chance to kind of review them because I'm kind of in full throttle work for those first 4 fights.
So it's pretty safe to say you'll be back to the Mid-South putting on another show.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just thought the energy level here was great. It just, the crowd was loud, and it was a fun place to do a show. This is a great venue. I mean, it elevates. It looks great on television. The seats, just the setup. There's not a bad seat in the house. So yeah, I think we'll be back here for sure.
All right, any final comments?
No, I'm just amped. I mean, it was just a great show. It was just fun to be part of, and congrats to the guys. I mean, they all put on, like you said, the 4 TV fights were just crazy. So I'm excited.
All right, thank you for your time, and awesome show tonight.
Thanks, bud.